it seems to be a problem with marriages in Nigeria. In fact, younger people are thinking of not going into marriage. They just want partnership, have children. And out of wedlock children are in their numbers in the country. Briefly, how can we salvage? Because family is the pillar that holds a society. And when the family values begin to fall apart, then the society has a fundamental problem.
Thank you, Seun. I agree with you absolutely. The family is the basic unit, basic institution of the society. They say that the values of the average child, the basic values are pretty much formed by the age of 7, right? Before school even has the opportunity of making much influence. So there are several factors contributing to the breakup of marriages. I would say first, the economic situation, the environment is a major part of it. The environment is a major part of it. So you see young people delaying now a lot before marrying. Why? They want to get things together first financially. Not only the males, even the females. And I look back to when we got married, my wife and I celebrated our 31st wedding anniversary just some weeks ago, right? And I look back at then and how money honestly was not even an important basis, for our decision. The important thing was we were educated and we were professionals, right? I was already a pastor, so I had a job. My wife, she was just starting her youth service, but she was trained as an architect, right? So we knew we would have some means of living. But then to want to settle down and be comfortable and all that before getting married, that was strange. As Christians, what we just wanted to be sure of was that it was the will of God for us to marry. So when I see the delay these days, it's a bit disturbing because actually you're supposed to build a life together, right? Another important point or dimension is the influence of the media, the influence of what people see these days. So this issue of people being partners, not living together, not having loose associations, a lot of it is influence from other cultures, just based on what we see. And there's a basic principle: whatever you see and hear consistently over time will enter your heart, and it will put your life on autopilot. So, by encouragement, basic institutions, those of us that are parenting need to be intentional. Put values over money. Money is only a means of representation of value, but it is not the only store of value. Have a vision for your family. It's not enough to just be sleeping and waking up every day. Have a vision for your family. Have a vision of who you want your children to be in the future, right? And be intentional about their education, not only education in school, but education at home. Values are very important. Inculcate values in those children, right? And more importantly, love your spouse. Love your spouse. It's one of the most assuring things you can do to make your children to grow up with peace of mind, to have contentment, and to not be desperate about material accumulation. The starting point of this journey has to do with us parents. When you are making money that you can't even explain to your children, you are shifting their values. You are showing them the example that money is more important than character, than integrity, than a good name. Things are already shifting, not only for you, but you are shifting things generations down the line.
So ladies should not be asking for what do you bring to the table, or guys should not be asking ladies, what are you bringing to the table? Shouldn't the both parties bring something to the table?
This is an interesting conversation I've seen on social media. If I saw somebody say, look, any man that is earning anything less than 800,000 naira, don't even listen to that man. I say, what?
Should anybody listen to a man any less than that? in the Nigeria of today. I mean, the lady, I saw that also, was saying that she has to buy air, she has to buy fuel, she has to buy this, she has to, I mean, the kind of life that if you cannot take her from the what she's living under her father's roof, why subject her to poverty?
Yeah, the point. Don't marry her to punish her and to make her suffer, right? However, I studied as a civil engineer, and I'll tell you something. When I look at a building, my training always tells me there's a part to this building you cannot see. We call it substructure. It's the foundation. That part you cannot see is the one that controls what you can see. Build your life on a vision and on values. Those material things you're talking about, the sad part is that they have this tendency to just fizzle out at short notice. Yes, he has a job. He's earning 800,000. Yes, he has a car. Honestly, 2 months down the line, all of those things may be gone. Then what are you going to do? The marriage is going to fall apart. So Jesus Christ said, anyone who hears what I say and who does them, I'll tell you, he's like a wise man who wanted to build a house, dug deep and built his house on the rock. When the weather elements built on the house, he said the house stood. The one who does not do what I'm saying built his house on sand. So you have to build your marriage, your family, your future on the intangible first, not the tangible. So when my wife and I were courting, right, one day she then asked me, we were already courting. Then she asked me, oh, by the way, how much is your pay? I was a pastor. I looked good. You have to dress good to preach, right? Back then, I told her my salary was 1,000 naira or 1,200. No, 1,200 naira a month. Then, right? Some 32 years ago. Even then, her allowance as a youth corper was higher than my pay. The allowance then was 1,500. So the moment I said 1,200 naira, she was silent at first. Then immediately I spoke up. I said, you know what? This is one thing I'm going to tell you. I'm a man of vision. I know where I'm going. Okay? I'm going to be a successful man.
You sold the vision to her.
Thank you. That's what leadership is about, right?
You marketed your vision.
Thank you. You know, I told you leaders have to sell. I sold the vision. I'm going somewhere. I sold the future to her, you know, because marriage is not only about today, it's about the future. We were going to be together for decades. I said, we did 31st anniversary and I fulfilled my part. If that day I told her, look, I'm going to be so prosperous at some point, I'm going to tell you to keep the whole of your salary because I'm going to take care of you and I'm going to pick all the bills for this family. It's just that for that, you are going to have to support me, okay? So both of us will contribute. Is that fine? She said, fine, let's go. Right? So we need leadership. We need vision. These material things you want to build on, he has this, he has that now. I'm just saying, good times come, rough times come in marriage. If you're going to build your life on these material things, what are you going to do when the rough times come? That's why people are packing the marriages up at short notice, just because of some little turbulence. You don't jump out of an aircraft just because there's some turbulence. You stay in there, right, until the plane lands. Our people need to have more enduring power, and it is vision that gives that capacity for persistence. You stay in it for the long time and build, not only for your selfish sake, but for God's purposes, for you and for the society.